Hello, and welcome to another episode of Outtakes from the Mystics Reading Group. Today I'll be reading a bit and reflecting upon a text from Brother Lawrence's Practice of the Presence of God. As you may recall, Brother Lawrence was a French mystic, a Christian of the 17th century, spent most of his life in the monastery in Paris, in a monastery in Paris. Brother Lawrence lived a very simple life. He worked in the kitchen of the monastery. He was a lay brother. He also worked as a sandal maker and one who repaired sandals of the monks in the monastery. His practice of the presence of God was a simple turning to God over and over again throughout the space of every ordinary day. As he practiced this simple turning to God, turning to love over and over again, the practice became stabilized in his life, and he came to a point towards the end of his life where he was simply always immersed in the deep, abiding presence of God. I want to read a little bit from Brother Lawrence and then offer a few more thoughts. This is from Last Words, a eulogy given on the occasion of Brother Lawrence's death by his friend Joseph. Brother Lawrence once said that the best reverence you can give God is to completely question your own strength and to trust perfectly or totally in God's protection, because this is how to make a sincere confession of our own weakness and a true acknowledgement of the Creator's omnipotence. Love is the queen and soul of all spiritual strengths. Love gives these their excellence and value. That is why we are not surprised by the perfection that is the mature goodness possessed by Brother Lawrence, because God's love ruled so perfectly in his heart. As St. Bernard says, he had turned toward this divine object in all his affections. If faith helped him see God as the highest truth, and if hope helped him contemplate God as his ultimate end and complete happiness, love showed him that God is the most perfect of all beings, or more precisely, that God is in fact perfection or love itself. Far from loving God for some personal benefit, Brother Lawrence's love was so disinterested that he loved God even when there was no suffering to avoid or reward to gain. Wanting only the sincerity of God and God's approval, Brother Lawrence made the accomplishment of God's sacred meaning his paradise. This is something we see even in his final illness. His spirit was so free, even until his last breath, that he explained the feelings of his heart, even then as if he were in excellent health. The purity of his love was so great that he wished, if it could have been possible, that God would not see the actions he was doing to serve God, so that he could do these only for God's intention and without any return to himself. He complained lovingly, telling his friends that God would let none of his actions go by without immediately rewarding him 100-fold, often giving him such great experiences and tastes of God's divinity that he was sometimes overwhelmed by these gifts. This made Brother Lawrence say with his usual respect and familiarity, "It's too much, God. It's too much for me. Please, God, give such favors and consolations to anybody who's wandered off and to any who don't know you, to draw these to your service. I have the happiness of knowing you, God, by faith. That should be enough for me, I think. But because I shouldn't refuse anything from a hand as rich and generous as yours, I accept, my God, the favors you do for me. After receiving these, I return to you what you gave me. Please be kind enough to accept these from me. As you are well aware, I don't seek or want your gifts, but I seek you, O God, yourself. I can't settle for anything else." Oh, Brother Lawrence, I'd like to offer a couple of thoughts on that reading. The first is the challenging magnificence of his admonition that the best reverence we can show or give to God is to completely question our own strength. This is to confess our nothingness, as it were, without God. Under my own steam, I am completely powerless to achieve intimacy of relationship with God. It's only through the strength of God and my willing surrender that I can come to the union that I so desire. So this idea, especially for we high-functioning Western Christians, that we would completely question our own strength. When I am weak, then I am strong, only because the strength of you, O God, flows through me, is a demonstration to God of our complete God dependence. He goes further to say that God often gives him favors that he doesn't want. He wishes, rather playfully and wonderfully, that he could do things for God and for the sake of God's love in secret so that even God wouldn't know what he was doing, and therefore God couldn't reward him. And therefore his acts of love would be all the more pure because there was no reward motivation in them. To love for love's sake, hoping that there's nothing in it for me, that is surely pure love. At the end of the day, what Brother Lawrence is after is marrying himself to God so that he becomes this pure conduit for the will of God, so that his will, that is Brother Lawrence's will, and God's will are perfectly united, and then God's will is done. That he has this practice of turning himself over in full confession of his own weakness to God, day by day, moment by moment, so that what happens is God finds him completely useful for the cause of love. Brother Lawrence is then free to love whoever and whatever is right in front of him without any of the obstacles of the ego clogging up the conduit. I love his playful way where he says when God rewards him, even though he doesn't want a reward, he says to God, it's too much. You got to take all that back. Give it to somebody else. I don't need the reward. All I'm after is you, O God. So you get the sense that Brother Lawrence, if he was left with nothing, no consolation, no nourishment, not even the hint of goodness in a given day, if he was left with nothing but God, his heart would be completely satisfied. So I think about that for my own life and for your life, for our lives. It's almost like the spiritual path is asking us a gentle question. If it was just you and God, would that be okay? If there were no consolations, it was just you and God in the still and in the quiet, would that be okay? Brother Lawrence's answer is yes. I think the invitation is for us to get to that same yes. I think about it as analogous to the relationship you have with the one you love the most. Who is the one in this world that you love the most? My sense is you probably have a lot of things you like to do with that person. But my sense is if some of those things fell off, you couldn't do those things together, you'd be okay. You'd still want to be with that person. And as a few more things that you like to do fell off, you weren't able to do them for whatever reason, and you had fewer and fewer things that you all had together, you'd still be okay. And my sense is, with the one you love the most, that even if everything was gone, all the things you like to do, all the things you share in common as passions, if it was all gone, it was just the two of you, just left in the still presence of each other's being, you would still choose that person, I bet. I know I would. I'd still want to be, just be, with her. And so God is asking the same question. If it was just the two of us, would that be okay? Brother Lawrence's practice is after getting us to assume an inner stance of vulnerability to that possibility. that relationship with God would satisfy all our needs. Now, the beauty of this teaching is that what follows that deep satisfaction is then being turned back to one's own life, to love whoever and whatever is right in front of us with God. And because all of our emotional needs and every other spiritual need we might have is met in our relationship with God, we can now be God's love to whoever's right in front of us without need for any reciprocation. And this is pure. This is the pure love that can and will be the very salvation of the world. So maybe next time you get a consolation, some gift, some nudge from God, you say, oh gosh, thank you, but it's too much. Like Brother Lawrence, it's too much, God. I didn't need that. I just want you. I just want you. Give my gift to somebody else because I know you, oh God. We rest in each other. Thanks for tuning in to this Outtakes from the Mystics Reading Group episode. I'll see you next time. Peace.